bear with, whilst I do the usual and play around with settings. And that should be that. Look at me sat in my shorts. Bear with, I just need a grab. I'll be right with you. There you go. Cheers, everyone. Well, it's the day of newness. New boost pack for the phone. New phone. You know what joy that is. That's a genius move. I had an iPhone 11 Pro Max, which I've got to say is never missed a beat. It's been absolutely perfect. But for some reason, I decided that going to the UK was the opportunity to buy a new phone because it's probably going to break soon. So 1,200 quid later, iPhone 16 Pro Max. And I can safely say that apart from the addition of a, air quotes in the wrong place, doing the Donald Trump there, so that was 1,200 quid well spent. Glad I did. But I bought new glasses, look, mainly because I keep sitting on the other ones and breaking. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. Blimey. Lots happened, I think, since the connection was. Yeah, it's kind of the UK. It's kind of what happens. But back here, yeah, everything's, yeah, as I've got used to. Just it works. So if it doesn't, I'll just turn off the Wi-Fi and go on to mode. So a few things I want to go over. But as you know, I went to the UK, and yeah. I think we were there long enough that I really started to hate it. And I think that's like going for an extra week somewhere on holiday and, you know, like doing 2 weeks and then going an extra week, doing 3 weeks. You've done everything by sort of a week and a half, and then a week you're scratching around, and then the third week you're just dreading restaurants there, you're bored to death, you just want to go home. Yeah, it's kind of like that, and we were just getting to that point in the UK. We were only there for 3 weeks this time. We were just getting to that point, and I think the first thing I noticed about being in the UK was the sheer volume of traffic. I mean, yeah, just insane, just insane. I'm not used to it. It's a bit of a shock. The other thing I noticed really felt like the flu time back in 2020, whenever it was. All you heard were sirens every day. That's every day, several sirens, wherever we were. You know, police, fire, ambulance, but mainly flying about every single day, and that was really obvious and really apparent, purely because of it here. rare or see a police car flying around to an emergency. It does happen, but rarely. So that was sort of the instant things. Aside from that, the cost, you know, in London, and buying trains and stuff like that. So where should we start? Let's start with travelling. So first thing I think is I'm not anybody that RP permit and has then travelled see under the 702 been the guinea pig. Certainly I got warned by lots of people about various things, lots of advice, some good, some, you know, take it or leave it. Nothing wrong with any of it. I guess people were just looking out for me and saying you need to be careful of this, and you know, delete this app, and you know, some people were even suggesting leaving my phone behind. I had quite a lot of that, and I've got to say, as I said in I think Sam's live stream, no issues, none. And I think when lots of people tell you something, you start to build it up in your head a little bit as well. So I was sort of thinking, bloody hell, sounds, you know, you see the news, somebody getting locked up for a retweet and stuff like that, and you think it doesn't make any sense, but you know, that's what's happening, I guess, so I've got to go with it. But no, I had no issues at all, none, which was nice. And ultimately I shouldn't have any issues. I'm a British citizen with a passport. I shouldn't have any issues, or I shouldn't be in fear of returning to my own country, should I? Let's face it. But no, very pleasant. Sochi, no issues, none whatsoever. Istanbul, yeah, always bounce from pillar to post, but we're getting a bit more used to it now. So, you know, when somebody tells you to go somewhere, you just ignore it and do what you think is right, because that's 99% of the time the correct thing to do. And London, a breeze, I've got to say, an absolute breeze. Presented my passport, straight through, no issues. So TRP, travelling with TRP hasn't affected that, but it shouldn't really, because it doesn't go into your passport as a biometric. So if you're biometrically scanning your passport, it's not going to show up on that. It's only going to show up if you're actually stopped by a, you know, a customs agent who wants to go through your passport page by page. So no issues there. 24 hours of travelling, train down to Sochi, flight to Istanbul, and then a flight from Istanbul to Gatwick. Then we had to go into London to an embassy to have an appointment that we'd pre-scheduled, and then finally down to my hometown on the south coast. So fair bit of travelling. Good friend of mine, Lee, thank you very, very much, lent me a mode of transport, which was a godsend. It meant that we could get around while we were there. And another good friend of mine just gave me his house, basically. Here's the keys, come and go as you please. So I'm very fortunate to have very, very good friends. So yeah, on that side of things, yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get there and go and surprise the kids, you know, all that kind of thing. No, Rios, you're not allowed out. My cat, we came home to him missing for 2 days, and then when he did rock up, he was walking on 3 legs, and he'd been attacked by a dog. So a dog had bitten through one of his rear paws. I was lucky to still have the paw, to be honest. Real nasty injury. Took him to the vet, got him patched up, but it was infected, so we had to take him back again. But that was part of the process anyway. The vet said bring him back in 3 days, so we took him back. The infection was doing, you know, doing its stuff. It was clearing out quite well. So then at that point, you know, I think that was the first priority for the vet, to get rid of the infection and then have a look at the wounds, and they were quite severe. So he's had a load of stitches in his leg, in his back leg, and he's now got a satellite dish, which he's not happy about, but I am, because I can watch MotoGP now, so it's brilliant. But he's not happy. So yeah, sorry, he's distracting me, because as soon as I'm away, he's, where's daddy, where's daddy? He just, hardly had any sleep because he's just sleeping on either my chest or on my head. Just won't leave me alone. So yeah, sorry, got distracted about him. But yeah, that was our arrival back in the UK. No issues, like I say, across the border. Next issues really were the price of stuff, you know, trains and all the rest of it. There's the initial shock. It always is when you go back to the UK from Gatwick and you're getting trains and you're laying out 70, 80, 90, 100 pounds for a train ticket, you know, to be on it for 45, 50 minutes. It's a bit of a shock. But apart from that, yeah, got back, settled in, got up to loads of stuff while we were there. Like I say, surprised the kids. Wrecked my mate's van, who'd lent it to me 2 hours later. Wiped the side of it out on a post whilst I was surprising the kids. Lee, I'm still sorry. He was very good about it. He just said, don't worry about it, it's a van. It's like, no, I've just wiped it out on a metal post, but he's like, no problem. So, like I say, good friends. And yeah, so that was kind of day one-ish. And then from there, really, we were just settled into doing stuff, you know, eating stuff that we haven't eaten for a long time. So the wife loves a curry, as do I. So we did that. Had a roast dinner, went to a carvery, did all of those kind of. I think they're the sort of thing that you think about on the run up to going back to the UK, but when you actually get there and you do it, you kind of go, yeah. I mean, the first thing we did was had a full English breakfast at Wetherspoons in Victoria Station. Won't be doing that again. It was absolutely disgusting. Wife definitely does a better version here. Yeah, it was horrible. Just, you know, cheapest sausages in the world, horrible bacon. It all felt like it had been cooked 3 days before. Just, yeah, not good. Really disappointing. But then, yeah, did lots of other food stuff, and there was nothing that we revisited twice. Whereas last year we sort of, you know, had a few curries and, you know, a few Chinese takeaways and this kind of thing. Didn't do that, just did one of everything, or not even everything. Didn't have a Chinese takeaway, for example, but yeah, we did that, and then just was like, And I think a lot of that is my tastes have changed significantly since coming to Russia. So where your staple diet in the UK is food that bloats you out and puts on pounds, yes, I put on pounds. Out here, the food's a lot fresher and a lot nicer, and you know, just everything that we eat is just a lot more natural, I guess, especially the fruit and the veg. So yeah, so there was that. Son has been doing pretty well with his life, so he wanted to go car shopping and has wanted to for about a year now, and I keep sort of putting him off. But yeah, we ended up going car shopping. I found him a car through a very good friend of mine, Ben. Thank you. Great service at Mercedes as always. And he now drives an A35 AMG, which is, I've got to say, a cracking little thing. Absolute little pocket rocket. And for a 20-year-old as his second car, not bad at all, son. Well done. I was a little concerned. He's jumping from a Hyundai i20 with about 80 horsepower to 300 horsepower, but it's built to do it. So, you know, it's four-wheel drive. It should keep him on the road, hopefully, and not kill him. Fingers crossed. Did a couple of other things. The mate of mine that lent me his house, quite literally, he was going on holiday, so I just said, keys, do what you like. We did a little garden makeover for him. Spent 2 or 3 days just going around in his back garden, you know, weed killing and chopping the grass and redoing the patio because all the weeds had grown through and it had gone black. York stone patio that was just black, completely black with moss and algae. So we got a load of chemicals on that and give it a good scrub 2 or 3 times and jet washed it and blah blah blah. Same with the conservatory, that had gone green and just revamped it, give him something to come home to, and he was made up with that. So that was really nice to be able to do that for him. Had a half-assed attempt at repairing the van, just to try and keep the weather out of it for me mate, which he was like, don't know why you bothered, basically, but thanks. But you know, felt he needed to. And then, yeah, then it was sort of focusing on just getting about and driving. Just felt natural, I'll be honest, driving. I've driven all my life, obviously, in the UK, so that side of things, you know, driving a right-hand drive vehicle again, felt completely normal on the left-hand side of the road. Didn't, you know, feel odd at all. But I have driven a lot on the continent, so I'm used to swapping sides of vehicles. I'm used to swapping vehicles as well. So for me, driving, you know, left-hand, right-hand drive, it doesn't really affect me. So we did that, got used to that, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But one thing I did notice regarding the traffic was it had all slowed down. Now, when I left the UK, it was like a racetrack. And maybe parts of it are, maybe it still is, except for where we were, I don't know. But it really felt that everybody had, it kind of had an air of people resigning themselves to the fact that it is what it is now, you know, and speed limits must be obeyed or you're the worst person in the world. And yeah, there was several occasions where I was stuck behind somebody doing sort of 21, 22 miles an hour in a 30 limit, which, you know, I just don't remember that. I don't remember that happening. You know, I always remember people doing 35 in a 30 limit. And it felt like sort of people were just resigned to it. And after speaking to people as well, they just sort of said, yeah, it's just not worth it now. The penalty is so severe that nobody bothers. And it just felt kind of defeated, really. It felt like the people were just sort of resigned to their fate. Which, yeah, I mean, you can have arguments for and against speed limits and, you know, all the rest of it. But ultimately, all of us just really want to get on. We don't want to be held up. We just want to get from A to B. But yeah, that was another thing that I noticed. Condition of the roads was shocking, really bad. Worse than here, a lot worse than here, much worse than here. I mean, once you get off of, you know, the main town or the main village roads and go off onto the what I call the back roads, then they're uneven, you know, they're unmade roads, they're not tarmac. So you can't really compare that. It's not comparing apples with apples. But if you compare the tarmac roads, I mean, they're poles apart. Out here in Russia, the tarmac roads are wonderful. You know, they're always fixing them, or, you know, extending the network or building new roads, or there's something going on with the roads. But yeah, the UK, there were just potholes everywhere, and it was so noticeable. Again, you know, if you live with it every day, you probably don't notice it, but this is an observation after coming back. And it was, yeah, I was shocked at how bad the roads were. Food, apart from the takeaways, yeah, the price of stuff. I mean, we had an Indian takeaway last time we were there for 3 people, and it cost £45. Still had the menu at my mate's house. Still had the same marks next to the things that we ordered. Reordered exactly the same thing, and it was £62 this time. So, you know, for exactly the same meal in a year, which is, that's quite a significant increase, I think. Yeah, weather, we get the weather, it's a British thing. Let me say hello. Chrisman, yoo-hoo, welcome back home, sweet home. Yeah, it is, mate, very much so. Definitely is home sweet home. Zeddy, when did you get back? Lovely weather. When did we get back? What day is it? I'm falling back into my normal life of no idea what day it is. I can't even look at the phone to tell you. No idea what day it is. Feels like we've been back nearly a week. ish, I think, almost. I know it seems really stupid, and you know, probably you're thinking, oh, you know exactly what day of the week it is and exactly when you've gone back. I don't. I just genuinely don't. It's not something that I have to focus on anymore. You know, time of day or even what day it is, what date it is, none of that. It's not relevant to me anymore. So it's just wake up in the morning whenever it is. You know, ask the wife what appointments we have or anything we need to do, and then crack on with the day. That usually involves that thing, swimming, which, you know, is quite sad for some people, I guess, but for me, I love it. I love walking out here first thing in the morning. It's 32 degrees in the pool. It's, yeah, it's lovely, absolutely lovely. Amelia's just, our daughter has just brought a friend home, so yeah. Raining today in Tver. Oh yeah, no, it's 30, I think 35 degrees here today. So yeah, really nice, but a gentle breeze, as is quite normal for this part. So yeah, you can see the temperature being mid to late 30s and think, oh, it's hot, but there's a nice cool breeze, so it's not too bad. Hey Luna. Meow. You're not the injured one, are you? Come here, sweetie. Look at this one, look. What you doing? Bless you. You won't sit on my lap long, I know. Yeah. Ready? Go in. Go in. Blimey. Wow. Oh, no, go on. Oh. Cats. Can't read the Russian. Yeah, thanks, Shakib. Not heard that before, honestly. Yawn. Come up with some new material, mate. Alexi, welcome home, my friend. Thank you, Alexi. Catch up with you soon. It's nice to be home. Mila, hello. Thomas, hello. Also, I live in Russia. Whereabouts, Thomas? English bot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do svidania. Cabbage. Mwanza Suwali, are you married? Yes, I am. Happily. Love my wife. Satellite dish will help him communicate with his home planet. It's a very good point, Chrisman. Yeah. Toilet wank. I mean, most of these people with these names, they're really apt, aren't they? So if you're new to my channel, you'll probably work out that, you know, rude people I've got no time for. I'm giving the time of day. But, you know, genuine people, if you've got some genuine questions you want to ask about a Brit that's moved to Russia and then has recently gone back to the UK and thoughts about that, and then coming back to Russia again, ask away. Strong foundation construction, that sounds good. Always advisable, isn't it? I was born in Russia and moved to America when I was 5 years old. Wow. Well, you don't know Russia, unless obviously you're travelling, you know, and you're visiting Russia. But if you haven't been back, you no idea what Russia is. Promise you that. You'll have a view based on media and other stuff, but it's nothing like that, unless you're 6. You've only been gone a year. The one guy, why nut? I wonder what you're still doing there with such a terrible dictator. Yeah, I mean, it's a valid question, isn't it? Not only am I still here, but I've left here, gone back to the UK, and then come back again. I mean, wow. Who'd have thought? You know, if this was what Western media says it is, I must be mental. Why would I come back to this? No idea. Imagine. My mum is from Novosibirsk, Russia, and dad from Rostov, Russia. Wow, okay. Well, I promise you, if you haven't been back, you don't know what Russia is, and your parents won't either. They'll have a memory of what Russia was, and it's just not that anymore. It's nothing like that. Nothing like that. If someone likes the country, why not live there? God bless you, bro. Thank you. Exactly that. You know, I get called all sorts of things, but I don't understand the people with low IQ that sort of, oh, you're a traitor to your country. You know, I've covered this a few times, but how can I be a traitor to my country just because, what, I've relocated, I've changed my geography? It's just that you get that from brain deads. Can you speak Russian? Choot choot. No is the simple answer. I understand more. I can read a lot more now. And I understand some words, so I'm starting to get the gist of what a conversation might be about. But no, I can't speak Russian. It's a long road. It is for me anyway. I'm thick. Gianni said hi. Is she hot? Well, it's 35 degrees, mate. She's bound to be. Ask a stupid question. Is it expensive to live there? Depends on your point of reference. Yeah, difficult question to answer. You need to be more specific. Are you asking, is it expensive to live here in this village in comparison to Moscow, for example? Or are you saying in comparison to another part of the world? What's your base setting? What's your point of reference? Nikki Goldstein. Just a irrelevant question, isn't it? USA is really expensive. Yeah, you know, I've had some reports from friends that have been there fairly recently, and we're talking just about the price of eggs and bread. I actually looked at the price of eggs in our supermarket yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And they range from 69 rubles for 10 eggs to 109 rubles for 10 eggs. So different grades of egg, obviously, but 109 rubles, just over £1 for 10 eggs. Don't know how that reflects in the UK. I didn't buy eggs, so no idea. But I think my son said he buys a lot of eggs and they're quite expensive. But he's into his health and fitness and, yeah, all stuff I don't like. I'm from India. Cool. Asif Hazan. As a Brit, no. So as a Brit, it's cheaper. British money, I say this every time, British money goes a lot further out here because cost of living is all relative. Cost of living is probably not as much here as it is in the UK. You know, wages to wages, apples to apples. People, from what I can see, have a better quality of life here. Not everybody, but you know, the majority of the population, the middle section, if you like, seem to have a better quality of life. But when you think like in our region, the average salary for a month is around 40,000 rubles, 40 to 50,000 rubles, which is 450 pounds a month. And then you take the average salary of the UK, and you can see there's, you know, significant difference. So if you've planned your life well, you've managed to pay off your mortgage, you can, you know, have a pretty good life in Russia. If you don't want to work, if you do want to work, yeah, there's lots of opportunity there. But, you know, you're going to have to work for it, and anything worth having requires some effort and some input. How difficult is the immigration process? So if you look at my YouTube channel, there are 3 videos. I think they're titled "So You Want to Move to Russia," 1, 2 and 3. And I detail the immigration process. What documents you'll need. Some bits that you'll need to know that you won't be told in the immigration centre. And just the process and how long it takes, etc., etc. Russia has a strict immigration policy, and unlike certain other countries I can mention, USA, UK, they adhere to it. So you need to meet the policy. You need to meet the criteria. There isn't any of this, oh, that'll be near enough or that's good enough. You know, if you make a spelling mistake on the form, you're crossing it out and starting again. Well, sorry, you're not crossing it out. You're just starting again. You're doing the form again. So it needs to be accurate. You need to take your time with it, not rush it. A lot of people advise to get a lawyer to do it all. We didn't. That's a personal choice, you know. But like I say, if you look at my channel, it'll give you the outline of what documents you need if you're coming from the UK and the process involved. Aside from that, you can ask questions and make that choice yourself if you want to do it yourself. If you want to get an interpreter, or if you want to use Google Translate and go to the immigration centre, there's lots of help in the immigration centres as well. So yeah, check out those videos and that'll give you a more detailed answer to that question, I think. Neo-barbarian governments usually suck in most places. Yeah, I think the less involvement you have with any government, the better. You don't want government in your life. And I don't think really government wants to be in your life either. They just want, you know, to crack on doing whatever they're doing, depending on the government, whether that's good or bad. Ooh, cherry juice. It's always really, really strong. Real strong flavour out here with cherries. What up UNC? No idea. Compared to the UK. Yeah, so hopefully I've answered that. I've seen Russian city streets and they're so clean compared to the USA. Never been to the USA, so I can't comment. I can comment about going back to the UK, and it was exactly the same as it was last year. Just filthy. Just absolutely filthy. You know, I've said it many times, I come from a seaside resort town in the UK. And you know, for a town that relies on tourism, to see the state of the streets, you know, rubbish everywhere, homeless people everywhere, drunks literally lying in the middle of the high street, you know, in the pedestrian centre, literally just people having to walk around them because they're just asleep in the middle of the pedestrian zone. Yeah, you know. When we were up in London walking through St James's Park, there's tents in St James's Park. Homeless people pitched up. It just crazy state of affairs. Strong foundation. Back in the 90s, there are a lot of re-catering, but I heard it's normal now. I have relatives in overseas births. Russian language is easy to learn once you learn the Russian alphabet. Yeah, I did a video on the Russian alphabet. Again, if you're a Brit, the Russian alphabet is a challenge because obviously we used to reading the letters how we would assume they are, and by that I mean the letter C, it being the letter C, making a certain sound. Whereas out here, a C is an S, a P is an R, a H is an N. So there's all sorts of stuff that your head has to get wrapped around, and that's without getting to the 7 symbols, whatever they are, like hieroglyphics. So yeah, I think if you're young, as is always the case, you pick it up quick, but if you're an old fart like me, then it's not so easy. I live in the US, moved from the UK. Oh, cool. Hopefully you like the US. If you've made the move, it's horrible if you've moved somewhere and you're not happy. I always wanted to go to the US. There were lots of times when I had the opportunity and just something got in the way. And I always wanted to go there. I just really have no interest in going there now. Just seen too much bad stuff on independent news about the places, and also listening to the people that have gone there on holiday and have gone there for many, many years and now say they'd never go there again. And it's just, yeah. But, you know, it's all relative, isn't it? Let's face it, you can say the same about the UK, but as I say, if you go to the UK to visit, if you go there as a tourist for a couple of weeks, you'll love it. You know, you'll arrive, everything's green, green and pleasant land, and you'll do the touristy stuff. You go and see all the sights and the castles and do all of that, and you'll love it. You think it's wonderful. But visiting somewhere on holiday and living there are two completely different things. And yeah, I can honestly say, for me, living here is no comparison. It's just better. You know, it's just better. Natalia, hi there. It's been a while since I passed by. Good to see you back. Send some sunshine to St. Petersburg, please. Yeah, it's not what you guys meant to have, is it, sunshine? Weather there, I believe, is challenging, but no, it's our sunshine. We're keeping it. So if you want it, you've got to come over here. I know it's about 6,500 kilometres, but, you know. Aussie Spy said hi. Hi. Nicholas, I liked and subbed. Thank you. Bye, see you later. Nice Broobs Pig Boy. Nice name. No, it's just like UK. Well, there's nothing wrong with moving twice. Just saying. Let's get rid of him. I have to go back to work. It was good to meet you. God bless. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for popping in. It's not going to be a long stream. I'm just going to go through a few bits that I, just wanted to cover off, and that's it really. Another observation: planes. So back in the UK, lots of planes flying around, lots of commercial stuff, but where we are here, no planes, no chemtrails, none of that. Obviously current situation, so local airport is closed, so yeah, no planes, which is quite nice, apart from military stuff, which I like looking at anyway, so quite happy to see that. I just find it interesting. What else? Pool, yeah, swimming pool, missed that, really did. That was one thing I noticed, or I'm not saying noticed, but that was one thing that stuck out straight away, was the weather in the UK. Once it got to sort of 29 degrees, and we had good weather while we were there, but 29 degrees was unbearable. It was just so humid. It was probably about 75% humidity, and it was just hateful. Whereas now I'm sitting in 35 degrees, and yeah, I'm barely breaking a sweat, whereas in 29 degrees I was soaked, in 5 minutes, absolutely soaked. It was horrible. So yeah, it's nice to come back here and be able to just jump in the pool. I wish we had a pool in the UK, but it doesn't warrant it. My friend's got a pool, but I don't think really the UK weather warrants it. You're going to use it for a few weeks of the year if you're lucky, whereas here we use it from March to November. So it's worth it. It's worth the investment. Interesting. John Smith. Thank you all from Moscow, Russia. Bizarre. Okay. Not quite sure on your sentiment there, but crack on, mate. You do you. John Smith. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Covered it all, haven't I? Petrol was about the same price. Didn't look a great deal different, about £1.39, £1.40 a litre. So that wasn't a great deal different, but did notice in the shops that portion sizes of everything have got smaller. So prices don't look to have increased massively, except on takeaways. They seem to have all gone up. But shop prices, a lot of stuff seemed, from what we saw, pretty reasonable, but the sizes of bottles of sauce, ketchup and stuff like that, everything's got smaller. So yeah, that's the way they do it, isn't it? They don't necessarily jack the price. They say, oh, it's the same price as it was last year. Yeah, it's 10% smaller. So apart from that, yeah, it wasn't a huge shock really. It was just not somewhere that I really wanted to stay. Everybody just felt, I don't know, maybe it was me, but it just felt that everybody was wandering around almost beaten, just just trying to get through the day. And certainly a lot of conversations I had revolved around that, with people saying that, you know, now it's just, you know, going to work to survive rather than live, you know, going to work to pay other people's bills, which is a real shame. It's quite sad, but not something that I have to worry about. So yeah, but yeah, back home now. Come home to having to cut the grass, sort out the swimming pool, take the cat to the vet, and yeah, try and catch up with some sleep and generally relax. But I'm very glad to be back. I really am, and I wouldn't change my life, not at all. I'm very, very happy with how things are, and that's where I'm going to leave you. It's like I say, it's just a short and sweet catch up. This is where we went. This is what happened, and that's about it. You know, there's nothing too dramatic other than, you know, pretty much what I was expecting, really. Aside from going over the border, you know, I was expecting a lot worse. But yeah, thanks for joining me. It's, like I say, short live stream this time because I want to go swimming. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.